Hello, my friends, and welcome to our last Friday announcement. We've made it to the end. No, the assignments aren't done and the grading isn't done, but we are at the end. And I just want to spend a few moments sharing a few words from my heart with you, and and then, of course, doing the practicalities of what's coming as we wrap up this semester. So I'll share my screen with you, and we'll get going. So if you go into our Canvas course and you scroll down to Module 5, make sure that you finish up quiz number 11. That's the last discussion board for the semester. So your team initial post was due earlier this week, and then make sure that you respond individually to at least one person by Monday. Also, I sent out an email earlier this week with your um, Google form for you to fill out for every single team member. So that's usually between 3 to 5 people that you would need to fill that out for. You don't need to tell me anything in Canvas. I can automatically see who's submitted it. And then starting next week, I will begin emailing out that feedback to your team members. It is anonymous. It just looks like it comes from me. So I hope that you can be as honest and helpful, constructive as possible in that feedback. There's one last extra credit opportunity. It's a documentary on Netflix. It's really interesting. It may be a bit controversial, but I hope that it stirs up some good thoughts and interest, and maybe even discussion for you and some others on complementary and alternative medicine, an area that we unfortunately don't really explore much of in nursing school. And then your final thing is your exam, which is due Wednesday. So I posted that already. It's a Word document just like last time. And there are some pretty easy or freebie type questions in there that I hope that you find beneficial for you. And this is the mobile learning post-class survey that is a part of that exam that I just asked that you take as we wrap up a research study that I've been conducting all year on how to engage students more in learning on their mobile devices. I've been doing that with our instructional designer, Katie Jacobson. So that's it for Canvas. If you have clinical stuff going on, then you can connect with Dr. King about that. The final thing I want to do with you is share a few thoughts. This is normally something that I do with my last class of the semester as you are graduating, or most of you are graduating, and if not, you will be graduating soon. So just wanted to quickly share with you 3 things that I would have told that I would love to tell my 23-year-old self. I was 23 when I graduated. I was a 5th-year senior, and I've been reflecting on what I would want to have known at that point. So first thing I would have want to have known, or kind of would want to tell myself, is a windy path can be a wonderful thing. I have this quote from a favorite author, philosopher of mine, Joseph Campbell, who says, "We must let go of the life we have planned in order to have the life that is waiting for us." I could go on and on and on. I won't, about all the windiness that has occurred on my path since graduating from nursing school in 2004. I thought I was going to leave the nursing profession when I graduated. I thought I was going to put in a few years, get my husband through grad school, and leave. And I didn't. There was a lot of winding that happened in just exploring different specialties, in applying to graduate schools outside of nursing and deciding not to do that, and deciding eventually to go to graduate school for nursing and coming into academic role, in finding my love in psychiatry and public health. All things that I had no idea at the outset that I would be interested in or that I would fall into and have fit me so well. But I needed to be flexible and to try things that I did and didn't like, and to kind of not worry about that perfect plan. And that has happened in so many ways, even in the finding of my husband. Yeah, when I first met him, it was not love at first sight, and he was a dear friend and eventually became something more. But that was something that I didn't foresee, and really needed to remain flexible and paying attention to that inner voice and to God's whispering within me to move forward into these beautiful pieces of my journey. So that's the first piece that I would say, is that there are beautiful surprises along the way if we're willing to remain flexible. And you guys did this in our clinical orientation. Hands open, right? A lot of you talked about your goal for this semester when we reflected on this at clinical orientation way back in January. And a lot of you talked about how you wanted to keep open and remain flexible for what may be in store for you. The second thing I would say is don't waste your time and energy worrying about your whatever that may be. For me, it's my body. I have always struggled with body image issues for as long as I can remember. And that's a whole nother story in and of itself. But something that I wish I could say is don't worry about that. Maybe it's not your body that you're worried about and you spend too much time focusing on. Maybe it's about your social life. Maybe it's about finding a significant other or a life partner. Maybe it's about your appearance in general or your success in your career, or I don't know, it could be a whole variety of things, accumulating wealth, but it's not worth it. I think if anything, this pandemic has helped us recognize what really does matter in life. It's those dear relationships. It's finding our identity in the child of God that we have been created as, and it's just not worth it. I mean, I've been worrying about body image stuff my whole life, and no matter what size my body is, it always is a concern. So I'm finally realizing like it's not about how I actually look. It's just a way for me to kind of find control, and so I would encourage you to kind of go beyond that and look for the deeper things in life, and not waste your energy on things that don't really matter in the long run. The final thing I would say is kind of comes off of one of my all-time favorite books called Present Over Perfect by Shauna Niequist. And that's that being present is so much better than being perfect. I'm assuming that many of you nursing students are overachievers. I certainly am as well. I often tell people that I'm a recovering perfectionist. I don't like being a perfectionist. I don't like being an overachiever. And I'm constantly working on what that means to lower my standards, my expectations for myself, and again, to not find my identity or my worth in my success and in my perfection. And that could be in career, that is career for me, but that's also in trying to be the perfect mom and trying to be the best friend to everybody at all times, trying to have the perfect social life. I try to be the perfect, well rounded person, and I always am going to fail. And there's some beautiful inner peace that happens when I recognize that it's just better to be in the moment and to be present with what's right in front of me and to let go of these ridiculous standards because they just don't matter. Like, what's it going to matter in the end, anyways, right? So that's something that I'm always working on. Again, this pandemic has really helped me reflect on what that means to be present with my family, who matter more than my work. And I can give a lot to my work, but it's also really important to be present with the people that matter most. Um, Finally, I'll just share a few extra book recommendations. Hopefully, you will have more time to read once you graduate. I know for me, that's like one of my favorite things of summertime is having time to read. So these are two of the best books that I've read in the last year or two. The one on the left, When Breath Becomes Air, is written by a physician. Spoiler alert, you find this out in the very, very beginning. He does die. And this is his story of what it was like to die from cancer while also being a physician. It's a pretty phenomenal, gripping story. I read it in one sitting and bawled about it just tells a really unique story of someone who is a patient and also a physician. So I think it provides a lot of great perspectives for us in the medical profession. And then the book on the right, Tattoos on the Heart by Father Gregory Boyle. He is just a phenomenal priest in LA who has worked with gang members for decades. And this book tells stories of his work with gang members and restoration and rehabilitation, but also tells us about God's heart and love for us through his own stories. And this book just broke me. I don't know, there's almost no words for that book. And also just epitomizes the heart that I hope that you've taken away from this class related to public health. My goal that I set at the outset was to um, that your hearts and your minds would be opened. And I hope that has happened in some ways this semester. And I just have greatly enjoyed all of my interactions with you. Your engagement as we've continued to move online has been absolutely incredible, has sustained me through these kind of isolated, lonely times. And I love you all. Stay in touch, and I will see you next Friday at our Zoom celebration.